November is Transgender Awareness Month, and today is Transgender Day of Remembrance, an international observance honoring those killed by anti-transgender violence and drawing attention to the threats trans people face. The Day of Remembrance started in 1999 by transgender advocate Gwendolyn Ann Smith to honor Rita Hester, a trans woman who was killed the year before. Joining me now is Sean Ebony Coleman, the Executive Director of Destination Tomorrow, a national LGBTQ+ organization with centers in Atlanta and the South Bronx. Welcome.
Thank you for having me back.
It's really nice to see you. You know, we've done stories with you over the years.
Yes.
This is a very sad day.
Yeah.
Let's talk about what happens on this day and also why it's such a pivotal time for the community.
So what happens on this day is we take a moment to observe those who have lost their lives to anti-trans violence, right? But it's also a moment to celebrate the resiliency of the community, to celebrate the strides that we made, and to kind of organize and make sure that we're going to continue to move forward in ways that are substantial.
And tell us why this is such a pivotal time in the community.
Well, with all the anti-trans laws that are being passed and that rhetoric, right, we're going into an election year, and some elected officials will choose to use this base as red meat, right? They're just throwing it out to their base. So it gives us an opportunity to kind of push back on miseducation and misinformation, but it also gives us an opportunity to kind of figure out what coalition building looks like who are our allies, and ask our allies to stand in the gap for us in those moments when we actually can't be present.
And are we seeing more anti-transgender violence, or more than in the past, and who is most at risk?
So to answer your question, yes.
Yeah.
Right, we're seeing more anti-LGBTQ violence overall. Black trans women continue to bear the brunt of violence that's perpetuated against the trans community. But I think it happens subtle now, right? Aggressiveness, angry words, the rhetoric, that's a form of violence as well, and I don't think we call attention to it. And those are the things that are not being reported, right? The slurs, and we figure since we live in New York City, this progressive city, that it doesn't happen here. So those subtle things you may not report, or you may not be alarmed by it. Those are the violent experiences that we're starting to see too.
Let's talk about the amazing work that you and Destination Tomorrow does.
Yes. Well, you know, Destination Tomorrow is a one-stop shop, right? It's community informed, so anything that we feel community members are going to need access to, we do our best to provide it, whether it's a food pantry or assistance with housing, whether it's a support group that we offer at our space at 149th and 3rd Avenue, or is finding a doctor that's affirming. Advocacy as far as policy is concerned. Like, we run the gamut of the things that we do, and we've now mirrored those services in Atlanta, Georgia.
And we talked about allies and how important they are. What can people do to become good allies?
Listen is the first thing, right? And things like allow the community, the trans community, access to your platform, right? Being able to dispel misinformation in real time is incredibly important, and our allies get the opportunity to do it because you're in spaces that we may not necessarily be in. You're in rooms that we haven't been invited to yet. So we need someone to have a voice for us. But then also, of course, donation, whether it's time, whether it's money. Like, we're having an event for Trans Day of Remembrance tomorrow, a silent march across the bridge on 149th. Volunteer, come uptown, help us get the word out, share it on your social media platform. Like, in this very moment, we need to figure out who our soft allies are. And those soft allies are folks that they understand the struggle, they see where we are, but they don't necessarily know what to do. So they may donate a couple of dollars, and that's great. But we also need you to get off the bench and help us access spaces that we don't have access to.
Sean Ebony Coleman, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for
all the work that you and Destination Tomorrow do for so many people.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.